start the actual recording for the VOD, because you can't put fonts on YouTube because they copyright it, because of course they do, you know? But I used to love playing that song before they would do that, and yeah, I still listen to it while I work, but nonetheless, how are you all doing? Wee Woo here. It's been a lot of book work today, and I looked back at it, you know, compared to last week and this week. Last week and even weeks before that, we were just doing a lot of mission dev and all this other awesome stuff, and then this week it's just been book work galore. But that's fine. It's because we have to run a poll in for September ops next month, but I got to get that started tomorrow because of, you know, vacation in the middle, and I got to, you know, get to results, and then mod sets made, and then, you know, mission makers on it. I've got 2 people that want to commission me, and I'm throwing in my new rates, but I'm also trying to balance everything out. So one of them is getting back to me, the other one tells me that, you know, they'll get back to me, yada-da. Because, just, again, I'm trying to set a bunch of policies going forward with everything, and it's just, oh, you know, there's just so much damn work to do. Speaking of work, though, I need to make a sticky note here for today's OFCRA mission. And this is on the 10th. And then I need to add this to last week's FNF footage, and that should get me a highlight compilation. Maybe 2, depending on how many crazy things happen, but we'll see how things go. Do you know how to speed up file extraction speeds on an external drive? Not really, Shark. If it's an HHD, you're kind of out of luck. SSDs are much faster because they're, you know, compared to writing on a disk, but I think all SATA cables that connect your drive to your motherboard are the same, more or less, Shark, so you just kind of have to bite the bullet. You could try changing its cord out to another cord, because maybe there's something faulty with the cord if you're not getting a high transfer speed. But especially if it's a hard disk drive and it's an older hard disk drive, it might, you know, take a bit for it to actually spin up and transfer the data. So you might just be SOL there. I'm gonna be honest, everything on my computer is on a freaking solid state drive except for footage. That's on a backup hard drive. But I'm slowly gonna be, you know, purging all that out. Interesting how the minefields are going to try to force OPFOR to go all the way around through that little snippet right there. Otherwise, they're going to have to go through a bunch of mines here. And I guess Blue 4 is going to be the one defending, because I don't see a Blue 4 flag anywhere. Also, we're on a World War II map, which is also kind of funny. Yeah, and then, you know, the type of USB you use can also work. USB-C being the best. More good advice there. Oh, man, but after this stream, like, here's how the rest of my day is going to go. We're going to stream OFCRA. We'll get that done. Bloodwing's going to make dinner, and while she's doing that, I'm going to be working on the master document for POG's contracting campaign. I've decided to do their gear in tiers, so we'll see how that goes. I need to get all that written up by Sunday, but I'm going to start today. Then we're going to run POG's second and final, you know, prologue up for the campaign before we make it something official. And it's just balancing. I wanted to bring my guys in on it as well, but Patch wanted to change up the roster. So I'm going to now see how they work the roster today and just see what their player count is at, and then bump it from there. And then I want to finish the documentation tonight, and yeah, that's that's it. Just, I need to have a stream sometime this weekend that's like a DayZ debug stream. I need to go through all the entities and, you know, balance out the roster sheet, add a few things to the DayZ roster as well, because we're going to be running our first event this weekend. We've got some other ops that are going to be run this weekend that I need to officially announce, and then I just need to get back into, you know, doing mission dev again. But right now, it's just finishing up the bookkeeping stuff tonight. Well, not tonight, but, you know, by the end of the week, and then one more week of just mission dev and whatnot, and then I have a week off for vacation, and then coming back on the final week of August and just working through everything. I got my goals, I just gotta take care of everything. So anyway, today's mission is fairly simple. It's It's a 90-minute OFCRA mission. The British are going to be on defense, the Ukrainians on offense, British on Blue 4, Ukrainians on Op 4.
6 now.
And if we look at the link I have posted in the mission command, basically both of these sectors are going to be cashed in at the 45, 55, and 65-minute marks respectively. And then the final cap zone here is worth 5 points. So the only way you can really win is to either have the end game cap zone in one of these two zones at one of those things to, you know, get 6 out of the potential 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points. So if you score 6 points, you win. If one zone is able, or if one group's able to hold both of these zones for the 45, 55, and 65-minute markers, they win. So we'll see how all this goes. This one really feels like it's going to be probably settled by mid-game. I want to say probably by the 55-point mark, we'll, or 55-minute mark, excuse me, we'll know who's going to win. But TK, thanks for the 16-month resub, broski. Hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I do hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. But we'll see. Tomorrow, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do FNF, and then after FNF, it's either going to be a DayZ event or just chilling on the DayZ server. I want to get that menu finalized for everything involved, and then we'll see how things go. Also, I just realized I have the wrong TFAR plugin on. So give me 1 second. I gotta go. I gotta go shift to the right one. That would be under my plugins folder. Delete the local DLL files and then extract the new ones for the proper plugin. The menu. Sorry, menu roster. I use those terms interchangeably, but for you guys, that might, you know, be different. And then we need to go back into OFCRA's Discord. TeamSpeak. God, I'm just getting everything confused today, aren't I?
Connected.
Let that reconnect.
Channel
Jump
switched.
in the English channel. Disable my sounds. And we're good. Senpai, it's only 1 round for OFCRA. They always do a bonus round after, but I generally don't cover that. FNF is the one with 3 different rounds. But if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to bring them up. Otherwise, we have our Op 4 Ukrainians today. We have a collection of strikers. Look at this. We've got a 50 cal and we've got another 50. These are Crow systems, and we got a GMG system in play. And then we also have a Minesweeper variant. 2 Minesweeper variants. Wow. So this is going to be for getting through those minefields. And then they also have a GMG in play. Otherwise, we're seeing some scoped AKs here. We've got some special forces with some M4 platforms. We've got an Eddy drone in play. That appears to be the shotgun attachment, too. So Blue 4's got Eddies. They got Crow systems with the 50 cal. That's awesome.
VG40 is smooth.
And then we got some GG25s on some AK-74s.
Wait, yeah, VOG 25.
Wait, what?
So the Sapper teams have Eddies. I'm assuming that's to help defuse mines if they need to. And these guys are all led by this guy, who messaged me, told me he changed his name. I forget. I'm blanking on who that might be. That might be Lolo, the one with 2 L's, or it could be somebody else. But NASA's going to be his 2IC for Op 4. All right, Blue 4, meanwhile, they're spawning in the town itself. This is the British force. They have scopes. 50 cals, but the Crow system also has zoom in. They also have a Milan AT system. This is a guided guide-by-wire AT. They've got some NLAWs in play.
I don't know.
We got the L85 in play, which in terms of ARMA mechanics, the L85 isn't too bad, but IRL, the L85 is definitely an interesting weapon. We got some GPMGs as well. And we've got some AR2 darters in play as well. We got an ambulance Land Rover as well here. And they also have access to some remote rangefinder drones. Okay. Interesting. This is going to be some very high-level PvP here. Also, you're going to have to ignore that message on the bottom left. That's because I'm in a spectator slot. It's their anti-lone wolf measure. They also have a GMG turret in play. Very interesting. Someone just got shot. Otherwise, only 2 Land Rovers. Otherwise, going to be mainly playing infantry. We have some additional buildings that have been added to the map here to add some very, very dicey situations here. Good God. Definitely some hard points for the area to be assaulted here. And then we've got the southern side of town. They added to the barracks area here. But otherwise, it's more of a village fight. Okay. So right off the bat, I mean, OFCRA really do have an advantage with those multiple strikers. They can use them to literally bulldoze through the minefield at any position. But once those, you know, gates in the middle, I'm struggling on what I should be calling them. Sweepers. We'll call them the sweepers. Once they start actually hitting mines, though, they're going to start detonating. So that is something to be aware of. But they definitely don't want to do dismount in the open. So I don't know, Blue 4, we're probably going to see them move up to the edge of the town, pop some remote designators in positions that they can, put them down on. I'm doing the longest range I can for render distance here so you can see what the enemies will be seeing with each other in terms of players. But yeah, the southern side is a bit tougher. That's where they're probably going to have to watch with actual manpower, but these open areas to the north and the west, they can definitely put some nice overwatch on these spots. By the way, we're hearing this clicking as we go over the town. I'm willing to bet it's because they have enable object interception on for TFAR, because that's what messes with the radio. So if we were to go into global settings, yeah. So the reason you hear that clicking is because this is on. Which, yeah, nothing we can really do about that. We also get it while we fly over trees or whatnot. Basically any objects, because the objects are intercepting the radio and lowering the ranges.
The only question I have is yellow and blue.
Alright, so here's the deal. We're probably going to see the 2 sweepers on point. We'll probably see the GMG, since there's only one, probably in the middle or rear of the formation. They also have some M113s with some turnout slots. And then they got a medical vehicle as well.
Well, there was. I don't know where it went.
I mean, not everyone's there, but...
But these crows, if they shoot the camera out, though, this lens right here, that lens, it's going to pretty much disable the turret. But this will be interesting, and then the GMG will also be interesting.
Our objective is to capture the town. We are gonna do it, so we are gonna go back and teach this fucking Russian how we're gonna free our territory. Russians?
Oh my god.
So this is Ukrainians versus British. And clearly their commander got the wrong memo. Brits, Russians, who knows?
Let's go.
We do see some ACOGs on some of these Blue 4 weapons as well. Actually, a lot of ACOGs, so this is going to be a scoped fight as well.
We're ready to go, can't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
boys, let's go.
Good luck,
Yeah,
boys.
no, so Blue 4 all have ACOGs. Does OFCRA all have? I saw PSO scopes on. I'm going to be honest, an ACOG is superior to a PSO.
Just let me wait.
You have an ACOG,
And we're seeing some basic red dots on some of the OFCRA weapons as well. These are CCO68 red dots. So on an infantry level, the quality of player is going to be higher on Blue 4, but OFCRA have so many Crow system weapons that could be negated. OFCRA, they also have Eddy drones. Blue 4 have darters.
Oh shit.
There's a lot of changing advantages here, though, so this should be quite interesting. Then we got a big mix of flag markers here as well. And the mission has officially started. I'm going to be honest, it's a lot of ground for Blue 4 to cover here, to cover both objectives. Having to split their forces, though, from a tactical standpoint, as long as they control the red zone by the end of the game, they get 5 points. That's at the end of the game. I honestly think Blue 4 should focus on holding west and the actual AO itself. Not really on the east, but they also need to figure out where OpForce convoy is coming in on. So they should just set up on the large buildings here, but be ready to pull them out because of that enemy GMG. I'm going to be honest, I think the priority for Blue 4, though, is to take those 2 Land Rovers, put them out on the eastern side, or even drive them out and bring them out of the minefields themselves and keep them outside of the AO in reserve, and only when they figure out where the convoy's coming in from, have them just come in, hit and run the convoy from the rear, and try to aim for taking out the GMG Vic. And if they can't get the GMG Vic, then get the Sweeper Vics to make it that much more difficult for OpFor to transverse the minefield. Blue 4 just doesn't have the manpower. Even though this is a 100-plus player match, you know, both sides are going to have at least a platoon and a half to work with. That's about 2 squads per AO, and you can see Blue 4 is going to go down to defend the eastern part of town as well. I don't really agree with that. Also, I don't know why this is called the eastern part when it's on the southern side, so that feels a little misleading. I feel like if this was the eastern part, it should be over here, but whatever. Compass directions. I don't know if these buildings can be collapsed, and even then a GMG isn't going to collapse a building. Something like a autocannon or a AT guided launcher would, but OpFor didn't really have a lot of those. Only Blue 4 did. The NLAWs are going to be great for taking out vehicles at close range as well, so I'd imagine the Strikers are probably going to stay outside of town, which again is going to be easier for the eastern quote-unquote section here, even though it's the south, because you got all this nice territory on the outskirts to do that from. That goes beyond the minefield, but once you bring it CQC, it's a lot tougher. But we also have all these territories over here on the actual eastern side of the objective, where it's a bunch of open areas that they can then use the Crow systems to practically snipe enemies. And I'm a little worried that I'm seeing Blue 4 forces fanning out into those areas. So, I don't know, right off the bat, I see where Blue 4 is deploying some of their forces. They're entrenching other areas as well. I'm going to be honest, the best thing they can do is put the darter drones up, watch them with the darter, put some remote designators out in the really big open areas, and just go inside town and watch. You don't want to put infantry on the outskirts, because on these open areas, this is prime real estate to get sniped by those Crow systems. I get, you know, the idea of potentially getting your infantry over there to do NLAW fighting, but at the same time, keep your NLAWs so if they actually push to CQC, you'll have a very easy shot with it. If you want to hit them from afar, just use your Land Rovers, which we already see are out and about. They've driven out on the edge. They're going to basically go for ambushes here, and that's the right call to make. You can spot with the scoped 50 cal, and then you can snipe with the Milan on the Land Rover. But they need to basically stay in constant long-range communication contact with whoever has the AR2 deployed. And we're not going to see where that AR2 is because it doesn't give us a symbol. On the flip side for OpFor, once they actually start coming into the town and having their Strikers on Overwatch, the Eddy drones are going to be really, really useful to send ahead and just harass any Blue 4 that are out in the open, to be perfectly honest. Or just drive it in a building and use that shotgun attachment to just kill people. If they spot a fortified building, all they need to do is just suppress it with the GMG and you're fine, you know? But anyway, let's go ahead and look over our numbers here. So we have, I think that is Lolo, but he's changed his name for this. NASA's is 2IC. Wonder, Mr. Dave, Sky Online, Rowan, and Misano are all under the command team. Medical team's going to be Alexander, Sam, Green Thumb, Curie, and Seismo. Pogo leading a mechanized platoon with Benares, Kermit, 12 Stripes, Barrows, Cheeseburger, Ezio, Cali, and Roland. Captain Morgan leading another group with Davidson, Oddball, James, Monix, Lysander, and Parthius. We got Mr. White leading another mechanized group with Flip for Flap, Rick Hunter, Risbo, Daedalus, Asnor, and Mancho. We've got Newton leading with one of the 2 Sapper squads with Eloy, Ninja, Roderick, Puma, Mirot, and Nicholas, and Twig Kings leading the other Sapper group with Cameron, Solomon's Crazy, Ilbenek, Woodbury, and Adamek. Again, these 2 Sapper groups have the Eddies as well. Looking over on Blue 4, it is Bluck commanding with Wombat as the 2 IC. Medical team is going to be Samuel leading Fran, Kyle, and Lewis, which they're over here on this building on the outskirts. I guess they're being used as security instead. The mounted AT group is going to be Giovanni leading Wiki, Skipu, HTM, Snoobus, Heli, and Depso. They've got both the AT Milan and I think it's the Coyote? It's either a Dingo or Coyote. I always get them wrong. But they're doing a massive wide flank here, and a little lag spike there causes the Coyote to kamikaze into a building, but it only takes minimal damage. That could have been bad. We got one urban defensive squad here. It's a big group, too, being led by Rigel with Shay, Ash, Tappa 2, PHK, Pirate Sandwich, Zixme, Swola, Ivno, and Nubas. Some of these guys have officer marking, so they might be the actual leadership groups. Glenn, I think that's true because you can see that these guys are on top of the leadership. So Glenn leading Cass, Nier, Ago, Godzilla Man, War Photographer, Gamebot, and Sir Drevden. And then we got Andre leading Jekyller, Cheviak, Yarrow, Warkes, Ilya, Asada, Taurus, KWX, Black Wolf, Bard, Colibri, Pingus, Ray, and Holod. And that is our entire roster today. So, looking on the map, game has only been live for 6 minutes. OPFOR doing this massive disparity of their forces here. They're going to just try to probe in on various areas. Unfortunately, where they're going to try to probe in on is where Blue 4 have the high ground. So when you know your opponent has not only short-range guided AT, but some sort of Land Rover, you have to go under 2 assumptions. One, they could keep that Land Rover locally in the AO, and the best place to put it would be arguably here, where it has the best overwatch to cover, again, the north, the west, and the south, or you could think that they are going to use it offensively to hit you on the rear, in which case, having your forces so spread out where that group could easily come in and pick you off and pull away and then attack you from a different angle is also a bad idea because you don't have enough forces to pull proper levels of security as you do your pushing. What this is going to do is just cause a squad or 2 to dismount, and then the one crow system that they have focus on the town itself rather than the rear security. If they had, you know, 2 or 3 of the strikers altogether, they could have 2 watching in the town and then 1 occasionally scanning on their rear with or without thermals, because I don't know if they included thermals. Usually they don't. So that would just occasionally be able to look around, and then you could have, you know, 1 or 2 squads pushing while the 3rd squad also watches your rear, because that is a very big threat. If you don't take it out, you'll literally just give a free kill to the Milan AT system, and then by the time you look behind you to look where it is, they're already going to be driving off. But if you have a single vehicle, that vehicle is going to get sniped, and the infantry sure as hell aren't going to be able to snipe the frickin' vehicle. So, tough call. Tough calls all around. But again, this is the maximum render range, so the Milans will have to get a bit close, but as you can see, that's still a fair bit of range. For the players, that's at least 750 meters of render distance. Actually, mathematically... No, this is... Wow, that is about 2 clicks. Somewhere around 1.5 clicks to 2. Whew. That's not good for OPFOR, but the question is Blue 4 going to be able to take advantage of this? We've got Blue 4 stopping all the way out here. I guess they're going to wait till they're called in, but at the same time, I would have put them a bit closer to the front line because OPFOR is either going to do this wide flank around and try to go for this opening or just brute force it. Which is why Blue 4 would want to put the AR2 darter arguably probably over here to watch the southern flank. And then remote designators to watch the far northeast, and then they would just probably rely on Overwatch from here. So actually, I'm not going to complain too hard about that, because this spot is great to watch from, and you got great watch from these buildings here too. Pierce was in charge of OPFOR. God damn it, Kiss. I'm curious, what were the final numbers for the bets? If you guys don't mind me asking.
Kyle, tienes visual del striker.
Yeah, so they're looking out there.
Tiene una pala frontal para
They got
desminado.
230 scopes. 230 PVS scopes, and I'd imagine,
Dame un rumbo.
yeah.
Se está moviendo, se está
Now they
moviendo.
see the movement of the strikers coming in. I'm going to be honest, with the enemy's numbers, they're either going to be doing... If you were a Blue 4 command, you would understand that based off the enemy's numbers, they'd either be doing a full-on platoon attack from one direction or some sort of pincer. I wouldn't foresee them breaking off into, you know, this group and this group, but even then you could argue that this is a pincer attack and then you have a group in the middle to support either side. But now you got Blue 4 driving around. I think they've realized that, you know, there is a force coming in here. And you could also assume that the pincer... No, I'm going to take that back. It's OFCRA. It could very well be two separate attacks, but this pincer is going to be supported on, you know, basically a northern attack and a western attack. We got some shots going out here. That is one of the Crow 50 cals firing. Or no, that might just be a GMG. Yep, so that's a PK, but you also have the Striker now firing. It's firing at the Overwatch elements of this building, so now OFCRA has announced their presence here. You got the AR2 down right here. It's not been deployed yet, and I get why. It only has a 30-minute battery, but I feel like that should have been deployed by now, because the best use of it's going to be outside before the enemy makes their attack. But I guess by not deploying it, now they can just fly the drone over and go see what's over there. Now you got this group over here sniping at these guys. Cass got hit. He's pulling back. And again, goes back to my point of you shouldn't have infantry on the outskirts here because they're just going to immediately get plinked at from the Crow systems from afar, and they're at a very big risk. And there's the first KIA. 50 cal takes a chunk out of him. But yeah, no, you literally just have these guys out in the field to die at this point. Because the Crow is just... It takes your 50 cal and turns it into a sniper rifle that you can fully automatic... That's fully automatic, you know? Because it's a perfectly stable system. And unlike, you know, most statics or vehicles in Arma, you know, it has a very nice zoom-in camera. And you can auto-range it with the T key. So Blue 4 quickly pulling back here. You could make the argument that they're out here to basically be a stopping position for any force, but again, with the toys we saw between the AR2 Darter and the remote designators Blue 4 had, they could have just put them in their infantry in these fortified buildings and still been a stopping position, because OPFOR still would have stopped and started engaging. But, you know, out here, it's much more open that they're forced to pop smoke and pull back. And they did take the KIA, which, in my opinion, was needless. Now, of course, one person isn't going to change OFCRA, but it just shows you that there is a little bit of sloppiness to Blue 4, which then makes me worried about their communication chain between them and their rear assault element. But I think this is going to be fine, because they're trying to now map them over. They might drop by OPFOR spawn, check if there's anything they left behind, which they, you know, only left a 113 behind. And then they're going to get on the rear of these formations and start trying to assault them. But we're at least 5 to 10 minutes away before Blue 4 can make one of those moves. But OPFOR, again, they might just be playing this incredibly cautious. We see them digging in along these areas here. And that, to me, shows that OPFOR is going to play this incredibly cautiously. They have a minefield in front of them. What they need to do is have a supporting element, like right here, basically lock anything down in town, and then these elements mount up, have the Striker with the Minesweeper up front, get right to the base of the town right here, and then basically assault uphill, and then have that Striker just come onto the edge of the town and locally suppress, but make sure that vehicle does not go in front of the infantry. The infantry definitely have to screen for it, otherwise you're going to see it get sniped by AT, and even with the screen, because of how varied these buildings are.
But no infantry.
Remember, guys, get in the rooms.
There's so many different windows and access points that even a big infantry screen might not be able to watch every single window. And that might be enough time for the AT to fire. And god damn, that clicking's going to get annoying. It's righto. It's fine, Pit Viper. Overall, been a bit of a messy start for both sides, but I think Op4's sloppiness is going to be worse than Blue 4's. Talk about spawn killing. I think Spirit joined in late, just as Blue 4 came up to their spawn. Now this is just gonna slow down Blue 4's proper attack as they practically spawn kill this poor bastard. Depso somehow gets knocked out. And he gets shot in the ass. Ah, yes, the combat honk. Congrats, you killed a fresh spawn. You guys must feel so proud of yourselves, and you almost lost one of your own guys due to incompetence. I love it. But again, that's just going to slow them down from actually moving in and, you know, doing the more important attacks here, which involves sniping the vehicles. But again, I like the positioning we have of these guys to just plink at these guys from afar. We can have another group come up to the edge of the minefield on this MSR and snipe at the buildings from the front. And then we just have the other groups move in with the minesweeper. And then once they establish a base of fire, these groups fold in, move to the exact same point. Look at that GMG firing from afar. Look at that.
Argo's down.
Beautiful.
Keep away from Argo.
But all they need to do is suppress. That's that GMG coming in.
Alright, stand by. I'm gonna try.
The person who shoots us is coming from the...
They just gotta stay in the back rooms here, and they should be okay.
Is it worth getting a shot off with the NLAW?
Yeah, they're hitting. I'm checking it right now.
I don't think they're gonna be in range with the NLAW. And even then, it's gonna take 10 seconds or so. Flight time for the GMG is gonna be a bit high, though, but that's a risk for both sides. I think OFCRA would win that fight, because they'd have to come onto this balcony, and that crow's gonna immediately see him auto-range with the T-key and annihilate him. And in that time, he's still probably gonna be looking for it. So I don't think it's worth the risk. Again, Blue 4 doesn't want to be fighting on the outskirts. They want to draw Op4 in and then take them out. I get why they think they want to fight for the outskirts, though, because this is where the actual cap zone is. But it's much better to bait your opponent in and then annihilate them rather than play a long-range fight where your opponent definitely has the advantage. The only thing this is serving, though, is buying more time for the rear groups to come in and hit the enemy from the rear. So that might be the entire plan all along here, but we need to see Blue 4 make haste, and there was no reason for them to then go at spawn here. Looks like they've justified it by just going north, and now they're driving all the way around like this, so they had to quote-unquote run into spawn, but they could have just gone cross-country at that point. This shows they wanted to intentionally check it out, maybe to steal a striker.
Then we have to carry him back to medical.
So they're gonna have to bring him to medical because he's uncon, so I guess the only medics in the fight is the medic team, which that kind of sucks, but what can you do? More GMG rounds coming in. Completely misranged. Yeah, another funny thing is the entryways are only to the west, which are all exposed, so if these guys wanted to get out of here, they'd have to pop smoke, but what defeats smoke is GMG. But again, we're not really seeing OFCRA capitalizing on this push. They're just kind of sitting here, which is just kind of begging the question of why. We don't see any attempt to push in. We just see all of them dismounting and fortifying on the edge. And that is a major mistake.
This guy's fucking.
And they've been digging trenches and getting their vehicles killed in trenches. Are you kidding me? What? Why? Why would you dig a trench around a vehicle with a massive hitbox? Why would you not... Why don't you just dig the trench in front of the vehicle and then you can drive the Vic into the trench?
Please stop, dude. I
We
fucking
need
love you. I'm
to,
getting
we need
bitched
to
at by
walk
somebody
next to you. This
Okay,
thing doesn't
so,
be-
Adam, I want you to crawl at like 5, okay?
Again, they have the sweeper. They don't need to do this. They can just use the sweeper. Just lower the... Op4 is overcomplicating this, that's why.
Feel free to start shooting people over there, okay?
Alright, so now Op4 is finally making a push, but they've lost one sweeper to their own stupidity. And apparently one person. So we're finally starting to see this team move in, but this team's staying on Overwatch. Because that group had both of their sweepers, and they're down a sweep. This is... Honestly, these guys should be with this element pushing. We should see one vehicle here on Overwatch, and one vehicle here, so they could be broken up into two different groups, and then this main force pushes in, basically behind the sweeper. The second team, now that they've lost their Vic, they can be with the other half of the group over here, basically sweeping for them in case they go a little too far to left or right, and just push in behind, dismounted if they wanted. Similar to how the Sapper teams are doing it, but the issue we're going to have is the AT team is going to get on the rear of this formation and snipe the Vics. And as you can see, there are some open areas that they can utilize, but it looks like they're mounting one of the vehicles. I can only assume to pull it around, maybe to join the sweeper team here. In which case, these guys, they're kind of too far to really do any proper support. They could be a little closer, because the only buildings you can see them actually overwatch from here is the very front. So I think it would have been a bit better to go maybe right here. But I also understand their reluctance to, because they're worried about the Milan turret. And there is a GMG that they have to worry about as well. But now you got the GMGs landing here. Right in the middle of this blue 4 formation. That had to have clipped Rigel and Nubas, but now the rounds are going far. The one issue we're going to have, though, is blue 4 is going to hone in on that. And even if the Milan can't get it, a scoped 50 cal can still disable a striker.
Sortez dans la pampa là, tes gars là, 147.
Now the one benefit is they've got it pretty well entrenched. And there's not really a good angle for, you know, them to get sniped from the north or the west. I'd be curious how much ammo they have for that, though. They don't want to burn all their ammo immediately either. But they've been doing a good job doing suppression nonetheless. The real question is going to be, can Blue 4 get the snipes that they need, or will Op4's vehicle security surprise the Blue 4 elements here? Because what Blue 4 wants to do is basically get in, hit the Vic, and leave. They don't want to entirely annihilate the infantry, just leave the infantry stranded instead, because they're going to want to then focus on the other strikers. However, knowing how most squads participate in OFCRA, they're probably going to go for a total elimination, which is going to provide needless casualties on Blue 4's side as well. And that's just going to be risky. And another thing with digging these massive trenches is it increases the ability for the enemy to spot your position. But we could very well see Blue 4 accidentally drive right on top of this area. And it's just going to be a matter of who gets the jump on who reacts first. Because Flip, I mean, he's got an AT4, and at this range, you could easily destroy the vehicles. Pull it out. Pull it out.
C'est le jacal.
Jacal sur notre nord-ouest.
320, 100 mètres, jacal.
Northwest of my position.
If he can snipe the vehicle, then Blue 4 is in a really bad spot.
Vas-y.
He's calling for backblast. He's got it. He's got it. Unless he gets sniped right now. Yeah. And that was the AT Vic. Massive misplay by Blue 4. So this is going to allow for OPFOR to basically move into these AOs unmolested. Blue 4, they still have the Land Rover at the 50, but you can see it's just booking it away at this point. Their entire unit cohesion is gone. The infantry are just being left to dry. And, I mean, we kind of see that, or we saw that already with how Blue 4 was deployed. GMG is now annihilating the wreck site, just in case any Blue 4 survived. You could still see Skipu with the Maz. He's opting to dig a trench. All right, I hate to call people out, but when you are literally being hit this close, you don't want to be digging a trench. An NLAW just fired. And it hit the tree or it hit the rear of the striker. We have the Eddies going forward. They're taking out mines. And you see where the striker has been deploying the little flags here with those dispensers to show where it's safe. I love this thing. I honestly love this thing. I remember when this thing first came out, we did a few counterinsurgency ops with it, and again, it was really, really cool. But yeah, now OPFOR is moving forces around. They're going to try to encircle this Blue 4 group and eliminate it, and then they won't have to worry about those vehicles harassing their rear. That is fine. It's just a little worrisome that OPFOR doesn't have any Overwatch at this point, which is why a second Overwatching element would help, which I think they're trying to do with here, but again, they just don't have a good range. And again, with all the tree cover and concealment and to work up with, I mean, OPFOR is going to get right on top of this position. And I feel like Blue 4 is in a really bad spot. I understand why that Vic would be ahead of the infantry in this case, because they're trying to go through a minefield. So if that vehicle gets titsed up somehow, and the infantry are right behind it, one, the explosion is going to kill some of the infantry, and two, the infantry is going to be pinned behind a cooking off vehicle, which is just not in a good spot to be because you have nowhere to maneuver because you're in the middle of a minefield. So by all means, when you have an area like this, it's not like your enemy is going to be fortified in the minefield itself, but now that it's at the edge of the minefield, it's stopping. Something that could have done a bit better, though, was maybe had 2 or 3 guys dismount and then take a local position, but just not how it's working out here. All right, we just had an NLAW or a Maz fire and take out one of the strikers because they completely overcommitted to this push. I think OPFOR didn't know about this second vehicle here. And funny enough, we just had a blue-on-blue incident with HTM. Wait, was that blue-on-blue? No, it wasn't. My bad. My bad. But yeah, now the power of that 50 cal is going. You also have the GMG firing. Even I made a miscall there. Yeah, he's gonna be up, not for long. Yeah. Here's the thing though, OPFOR know they've lost contact with that. They're sending this other striker in. This is the GM. Wait, so do they have 2 GMGs? No, it's the GMG from over here. They're flanking it around. Valiant as I appreciate the kind words, broski. Thanks for the 200 bits. So funny enough, Op4 are just coming to Blue 4, but they're not coordinating properly and they're getting annihilated. So, we could still see the yeah, they hear the Striker coming, so they're pulling away. Does Wiki have AT, though, is my question. And Depso, I think, was the N-Log gunner that took out that other Striker because he has the vehicle kill. You do not want a Striker going off on its own when you just had a firefight and lost everybody. Especially since they abandoned their infantry position to go out. It's not good. Wiki spots the Striker moving by. 50 cal's gonna see. Oh my god. And here comes that Moz round. Engine's disabled, but you still got that GMG firing. I am surprised that Vic has not been cooked off yet. Blue 4 trying to pull around. Vehicle disabled. Wiki trying to get some grenades up. He could snipe Daedalus here. That vehicle got heavily damaged there. Skipu reloading another Moz round. He needs to finish it off. Daedalus just got sniped. More GMG rounds coming in, but they're just not able to line up the shot. And I am... Okay, no, they were. So the gunner trades, but they were able to at least cook it off. And that is actually 3 of the 5 Strikers are down. 1 to Arma and 2 to PvP. So this group, despite having their AT vehicle disabled, Op4's kind of messed up their counterattack here. And we also see Depso came in and got some knockouts here and some kills. And that's kind of leaving these Op4 infantry stranded. But now Blue 4 have the number advantage to now push in. Mancho dies. And it's amazing how, even though you have the advantage going in, you can still completely lose it if you don't coordinate properly. So Blue 4 were just better at coordinating here, and now they've pretty much done their job. They've disabled quite a bit. It's pretty much taken everything out from Overwatch here. Depso gets double tapped. Op4 now in the zone, but with no Overwatch to stop the building suppression. We see that Blue 4 is going to mount a fight from here. Wow, he gets a headshot, but another guy peeking manages to get the headshot on him. They're throwing explosives in these buildings to try to knock him out. We got Photographer here. The vehicle's poking its head up, but that's going to probably snipe him before he can line the shot up. And it's already starting to suppress because it saw him. They need to wait for the Vic to come in a bit closer, but this position's kind of scuffed. You got Overwatch fire from that other spot finally opened up on this position. But based off of numbers, I would say Blue 4 have the advantage at the moment. But that could quickly turn around. We got to see this force basically... They're infantry at this point. So they're going to have to clear through these guys and then somehow find where Op4 is coming in from and then follow them in because they don't have a way to safely go through that minefield. Look at that, through the little crawl space here in the roof.
I've seen at least 5 enemies get into that big apartment to the west.
Hindsight's 20/20 especially, but again, by having so much forces on the outskirt fortifications, they're just kind of left here to die, you know? Blue 4 doesn't really have a good way to save them, especially considering the entrance and exit is on the side that your enemy's going to control. You got Overwatch fire coming all the way to this building, literally on the edge of their render distance. Enla goes in and takes out the mine-sweeping Striker. That was to be expected, though, because it pushed into CQC. Op4 only has a single vehicle left, though, and Blue 4 somewhere in here still have a GMG turret. Op4 have some 113s, and then their final Striker is right here providing Overwatch. At this point, I feel like Blue 4 could pull all the stuff here and commit it to a defensive line for Western. And then just leave command in the east to capture points, but it's clear that OpFor's intention is here because they've taken out a group here and they've taken out a group here. It's very unlikely that OpFor would split a third direction. You still have these 3 OpFor infantry fighting for their lives. Blue 4 down to 6, excuse me. They might be able to repair this Coyote here, but I doubt it. But again, I really do like the concept of this scenario. But now you got the difficulty of urban combat, and OpFor is kind of at the mercy of Blue 4 at this point. I'm going to be honest, I don't see Blue 4 making an attempt to do a counter push. No, I take that back. Again, if they rally this group to come up, which it looks like they're starting to do, they could then push back with all these Blue 4 elements on Overwatch to retake the West, but that's only if they understand that this is where OpFor's thrown all their forces here. To Blue 4, there's still another Minesweeper Vic somewhere that's being held in reserve on purpose, so Blue 4 might honestly think there's going to be a second attack from somewhere. And, you know, they'd be right to suspect something like that, because there's no way for them to know that the Vic got taken out.
Yeah, I got 2. What the fuck?
Solomon's surprised he just got 2 kills there.
I'm dead. I can't think. There's probably more people up here.
But, yeah, no, all of Blue 4 is dead. OpFor just doesn't realize it yet. They're going to have to breach and clear the rest of the building. We've got the medical Vic being pulled back. They need to bring that to Shay. But now OpFor has a foothold. And it's going to be 8 minutes before things start getting cashed in. So how does OpFor win this scenario? They grab all their guys. They push in the way that the first group made. They pull this group off of Overwatch soon. They go for West. They capture at least 1 point on the zone. And then they just hold this central area, sweep it, and clear it. And they got to do that for the entire rest of the game. Blue 4, meanwhile, in order for them to win, they just need to keep 1 guy in the purple zone for the East to capture those 3 points. No, they only need to do it at the 45-minute mark to capture a single point, and then they can just push into West, clear that out, and then hold the final zone, and they can get 6 points. Because again, at the 45, 55, and 65-minute marks, these 2 purple zones will give you 1 point, which totals to 6 if you control both zones for that 30-minute time frame. Then the final zone here is worth 5 points. So 11 points total. You just need 6 to win. You just need to get 1 point from 1 place, and then you just hold the endgame zone. Now, Blue 4, they can do a counterattack if they want to. It's a risk, but I think they could get away with it and just hold the West, because they know this is the one mine route in. But actually, again, all things considered, since they've only taken out 1 minesweeping Vic, I don't think the counterattack would be worth it. I think it would just be take 1 of the points and then hold this larger area, and then just ambush them as they come in. I think that would be the safest option for them. Grisbo getting knocked. Wow, a scoped mini-me. He was just in a tough position. He was trying to do a 1-man flank, but Blue 4, with 6 guys, are able to both hold and watch their flanks, so it's a tough thing to do. So you got Flip and Mr. White coming around on the southeastern side. They're going to go for the opposite flank. And Blue 4 is opting to potentially pull back. They don't like this position at all. But again, that fight is pretty much moot at this point. You've got OpFor following the cleared area right here. What the fuck is this? So they got an uncleared section because the vision's lost. Thankfully, there were no mines immediately next to them. And then they just have a marker. Yeah, they could have gotten out and spray painted that, but that could have been bad. But I kind of agree with OFCRA's reaction there. It's like, why? Bro. The whole point is to be in a sweeped area. So we're going to have that squad come in, reinforce these guys. Blue 4 showing some uncon markers. We could still see OPFOR just completely overpower the remaining Blue 4 garrison too. That is a possibility. Because Blue 4 have a big chunk of their manpower out here, and it looks like that the 2 OPFOR guys got taken out, and Blue 4 didn't take any KIAs. So they're just going to be out of the fight unless they find the way that OPFOR came in. Blue 4 with their numbers, again, I think their best bet is to just hold here, and then we got this one guy on the edge of the zone because he knows that OPFOR's probably not going to come in. He's just waiting for it. Kind of in a weird spot. He could be, you know, a little more in concealment at least, but maybe he's here just to represent a placeholder or something. I don't know. I question the players sometimes. But yeah, OPFOR, they just need to get 1 point in here and then start clearing the final area, because at that point, the other points are moot.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, this is... Oh, this is fucked.
And now we see some of the OPFOR guys learning the brutal hells of urban warfare. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a brutal, brutal. I don't know what to say for that one personally. He's alive? What? Bro gets shot 4 times, falls off of the top of a 5-story building, and is alive. That's certainly something. Well, the top of the 5th floor. Arma's a totally fair military simulation game with exactly 0 bugs, guys. Only features. Well-made features, mind you.
Sí, no, bueno, lo que hay más allá, por allá. Vale, Puma, cúbrenos,
That's why China trains on it, exactly. So now we need to see this group fold in. Because at that point, the infantry aren't needed here because the OPFOR knows they killed Blue 4's attack element, so they just gotta mount up in the striker and then follow in. You know? Oh, really, sir? Well, I hope you're not, still alive, because you're not supposed to be on while you're alive. But if you died, then feel free to jump in and stay in, broski. Ooh. He just took 2 hits. Another GL goes by. A little short, though. And funny enough, we actually have the Overwatch element firing at the Blue 4 guys on the outskirts here. No KIAs. But yeah, this is the edge of the minefield, so they probably don't want to be there. Ironically enough, the 50 cal might have saved the Blue 4 guys, though. Because they might not have realized that they were going in the minefield. You're part of 23rd HQ, gotcha. And I assume they were one of the groups that were wiped. Understandable. So I'm really curious to see where Blue Force put that GMG turret. I know they have it. We saw it over here. I just want to see where it is. Knowing my luck, though, we're going to find it on a rooftop that's been shot to shit, and it's already destroyed. So Blue 4's reinforcements are coming in. They're going to start going basically block by block here. There's the 45-minute cashed in. And 1 point has gone to the east and 1 point to the west because of that one player. So both sides have their 1 point. Now they just need to come in and clear everything out and just have more people in the final zone, and that's where the real fight's gonna be. 10-1, the GMG turret's already been armored due to some BS. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bet against you on that because that is a high likelihood, but, you know, that's Arma for you. I do love this position, though, that Rigel's using. He's got a GMG and a 230 scope to work with.
Movement closer buildings to us.
This is a very nasty keyhole that,
Moving in.
you know, the strikers, if they were still alive on Overwatch, would be able to cover against, but unfortunately that is not going to be a reality.
I'll just go ahead. From the arm.
Curie takes a shot in the plate.
No, no, è quello sul tetto, lo vedi?
Ah, we got a remote designator up there. But it's already disabled. This is not a bad spot for it, though. This had really great coverage on everything, but yeah, it's been sniped since. So Sky Online pushed, he got knocked out. This was the guy that died earlier to this guy, who then got immediately headshotted by another shooter. Got OFCRA making some pushes on this street, but I'm going to be honest, this is the closest we've seen to some real urban warfare in a while. Even if you do Fallujah, Fallujah doesn't have these super tall buildings everywhere that just help dominate, you know, entire blocks. They only have that for, I want to say, maybe a fifth of the map in certain locations. But here it's in its entirety. And then you got, you know, fully enterable two-story buildings almost everywhere and ruins. That was your remote designator? Ah, well, it's dead like you, broski. I'm sorry to say. Now we need to see OPFOR coordinate, pushing its forces forward. And we need to see these guys push in. Now, unfortunately, Tappa is a bit like Schrodinger's cat right now. He's both unconscious and alive, scoring points at the same time. Don't you love Schrodinger's Arma 3 players? Both dead and alive at the same time?
Adam, are you good?
I'll give you 500.
So OPFOR is
I got
kind of
20
halted, though, because their
regular
medic
VODs.
team's right here, and they're
No, I got
basically
20
tapping people up in terms of blood and whatnot. Funny enough, that's causing OPFOR as the attackers to be slightly defeated in detail here, because they still have forces pushing up in smaller groups, and they're the ones taking direct engagements.
It's enemy.
Yeah, Fallujah mostly has block buildings, but also some versions have replaced a lot of those buildings with enterable ones. Which is nice, but it also makes it more framey. I'd say for a map like this, this is the best urban warfare you're going to get in Arma 3 in terms of balance for frames and consideration.
Vale, esto nos están sumando, me da más rollo.
Están a flanco.
Sí, nos movemos, ¿no?
No, quédate cubriendo la calle.
Just watching the streets.
Ha cruzado la calle, ¿verdad?
He did clip one of them. They're moving along the graveyard side, but on this side, all the open area is locked down. This is risky. This is incredibly risky. But they're doing it the exact right way, staying in a column, walking in each other's footpath, and they got Giovanni on point. They've gotten halfway through this minefield, though.
Słuchajcie, jak jebnę, to nie idźcie tą drogą. Chociaż już może tej widy tu nie będzie wtedy.
Even if he dies,
No właśnie.
that still leaves 5 other chances for some infantry to get on the rear, and at this point, he might actually be lucky enough to make it. And we saw one mine get blown up by the OFCRA sweeper team, so we know they're out here. We just don't know how many and in what numbers, you know?
Ale gdzie ten pierwszy wyleciał?
Oh, he's almost there.
Gdzie jest Giovanni?
I think he's made it.
No, biegać. Sprint do miasta, kurwa. Rucham tego snajpera.
And he's out. Now, as long as the rest of Blue 4 follow in his footsteps, they should be fine. I think he's drifting a little to the left, though. Yeah, this is the first time we haven't done a caster, like, there was no caster curse. That's great. Can we have more of that? Because I was getting really tired of killing people on accident. Ah, HTM has found the desync mine. That's unfortunate. Yeah, you never know what can be deployed in a minefield, man. Sometimes it'll take out your toes, sometimes it'll take out your legs, sometimes it'll take out your squad or your vehicle, sometimes it'll take out your internet connection. It's the Michael Jackson mine. We just heard another N-Log get fired. OFCRA stole it from this rooftop and tried to shoot it down to some infantry, and he was quickly sniped. Now you got Blue 4 in the zone. That can attack OFCRA on the rear, and just looking at the numbers here, we do have another squad of OFCRA that can come in. But Blue 4 still have that Moz. Score right now is tied 1-1. Blue 4 still have the one guy in the zone, so they'll keep collecting the points for down here. OFCRA in this zone, they'll keep collecting those points. It's probably going to go 3-3, and then the final fight for Strasbourg. Zixme gets knocked out on the roof. More suppression going onto that building. The man has Eddie strapped to his back. What a Chad. Now we just have to see these 5 remaining players move in. HTM is unfortunately still stuck in the void. Will he be saved? Or will he have to hee-hee for the rest of his life? Oh no. There he is, officially losing connection, so he's replaced with an AI. He could rejoin the server, though, and take this slot back. But his AI presses forward. Will he trigger a mine? Or will the AI get lucky? And I don't believe it, but the AI, I think, is actually going to move it through the minefield. He's made it. Imagine not knowing how to go through a minefield so your AI does it for you. Blue 4 now breaching and clearing these buildings. Is he looking through the little slit of the roof right? Yes, he is. That is... That's amazing. Oh, he just got stuck on the ladder. Did he hear them? Now he thinks he's being breached?
Do anyone have some guy in the first apartment building, the one on the more in the west?
Yeah, he's calling to see if there's anyone
here.
here.
In here and I'm scared.
Guys, I heard voices. I'm scared. There's the 55 minute. Now you're having a rear attack here. Ooh. Somehow gets thrown off the building. So yeah, when you get knocked uncon in this building, you just phase through parts of it. That's not good. The building's an SCP. Now you got this vehicle driving by that's gonna bring an additional 9 guys. We'll see what Op4 Command does. We got some GLs going up in the building too. That was a smoke grenade. The deployable smoke that the GP25 can use. They're firing another. And Op4's final squad heading up to reinforce. HTM outlasts Adamek there. You can see where he got hit a few times. You can also see where he got hit quite a bit. Hallie realizes Daniela needs help and comes to her rescue or his, I don't know, but dives in and yeah, that happened. Adamek's body getting double tapped multiple times just in case. Medical being delivered to the anomaly. You know, sometimes the funky mines that make you desync you can avoid, and sometimes they follow you home. HTM playing Ring Around the Rosie, only to show his head to Ilbanek and get it blown off. Wiki coming around. Wiki on the edge of the building. Yeah, you're right. HTM did take control back, but then he got gunned down. And Giovanni! Yeah. You know, I'm willing to bet it's happening in this building, but not this building, because I think these are... the textures divide right here. I think the building's having people fall through, because remember when they shot explosives into this building? Notice how all the windows are destroyed as well? I think the satchel destroyed, quote-unquote, this building. And then... that's why people are falling through, because it's the physics broke on it. But when we saw people getting knocked out over here, and we got bodies in here to prove it, it's because the satchel didn't blow this building up itself. So we just have a glitched out building texture, really. Also, National Guard, thanks for the 100 bits, broski. Hope you are doing well. Uh-oh. Get him! Hey, he's saying he's on the floor, so they know that there's an issue with this building here. You can actually see some of their foots clipping through and whatnot. There's Frenchmen under the floor. Schrodinger's building. We've had Schrodinger's player today and Schrodinger's building.
Excuse me? Can you don't shot us? I mean, we are bugged in the textures. I mean,
On tego nie widzi, on nas nie widzi, debilu. On nas nie widzi.
Ale nieważne, jesteś zbugowani, nie dobrze. Idziemy na
Cicho, nie gadaj.
Accurate squatter simulator. Excuse me, we're in your floorboards. Can you not shoot us? We're just trying to vibe here. He's in the goddamn floors. He's in the goddamn floors. Are there 3 of them down there? Yeah, there's 3 of them. Oh, they're coming out right here. You can see where the building's partially split. It's above us. That's a grenade. But Giovanni was prone, so it doesn't affect him too much. Daniela's trying to call friendly, not realizing that they're getting shot at from above. And we still have this squad back here, just not really committing to anything as the rest of OFCRA infantry try to push in. We do have some more building fighting over here. As OFCRA have decided to stay in the attics now, as Blue 4 are right below them. Welcome to Urban Hell. Ilbanek trying to shoot at these guys through the window, pops a smoke. So we just have to see how this last squad develops, but you can tell there's just no communication anymore between groups. It's kind of just a free-for-all at this point.
Yeah, I'm having a fight with the fucking anti in the attic.
Go away.
It's Dave.
Back off. Back off. No, no, no. All right, frag grenade time. Frag 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's dope. Woohoo. Squad leader.
I'm not Zeusing right now.
Contact en route. 1 times Wales Pax. 1 times unknown contact. They are talking loudly. Over. Attempting to block their communications. You got shit. Learn to aim, loser. I'm coming in there when I get up there. We'll let it surrender. That is indeed me. We are winning the fight. They have lost. They are about to surrender. Surrender now. We'll face my wrath.
Arma 3 PvP in a nutshell, exactly. Ooh, Parthius gets naded.
Continuing smoke bombardment, over.
Coming up with my pistol because I'm John Wick. You're about to get it now. Oh, I see.
Okay. Yep. Yep. God damn it, Nubas.
John Wick is down. He's trying to breach the attic with a pistol. Over. No, Nubas went in the attic with a pistol alone. Done.
Oh, he's loading the GP. He went for the CQB noob tube. Alright, let's check on these guys. They're still fighting. Giovanni got knocked out. OFCRA looks like they're pushing the infantry into assist. The strikers moving up the street. A grenade gets launched up. And we just heard the striker get hit with a Maz. That's not an explosion, though. I think it's still going to be kicking. Excuse me. Maz Gunner might have been up here. Looks like they're not taking suppressive 50 cal fire, though, from the Crow system on it. You just have a lot of people knocked out here. Looks like they tried blowing up the building with another satchel. It didn't work. And Snoobest, I think, just killed a guy. National Guard, thanks for the tier 1 sub, broski. Hope you keep enjoying the operations. And hope we get a nice kick out of this scenario. Ilbanek. You got 7. Not bad. Looks like Blue 4 just sandwiched some OFCRA guys, but I that didn't work out too well. There's the 65-minute mark now. It's for whoever controls this zone. I think Blue 4 have more than Op 4 here. So I feel like this is leaning in Blue 4's favor. I didn't catch the drone kills, no. That's awesome, though, that you got drone kills. Parthius woke back up. They're still playing chicken in the attics, but it looks like Parthius is actually going to climb down. By kills, I mean 4. Even cooler. But no, I missed him, broski. I apologize. Op 4 opting to take Blue 4 weaponry. Actually, I think that's one of Op 4's weapons. He's just looting additional ammo for it. I think they spotted Parthius and started suppressing him. Looks like the rest of Blue 4 has been taken out. And now we just need to see Op 4 push in on where's Blue 4's remaining garrisons are. But they're pretty spread out on the entire western side of this final red cap zone, with a definite concentration on the southwestern corner. Op 4 are very spread out. They still got the striker to work with, though. It looks like they found one of the Op 4 players and took him out, though. He's trying to climb up without using the ladder. And he does so. Demovar doesn't see the gun. And that cost him his life. And he mag dumps just to be safe. 3 kills for Demovar. Yeah, again, Op 4's manpower compared to Blue 4's is definitely lower, so we're just gonna have to see what Op 4 can do, but when you have a pure manpower fight in a town like this, Blue 4 having the manpower advantage compared to their attackers is not a good sign. I can't tell if Stripe is trying to do some repairs here. He is bleeding a little bit, though. But that 50 cal still looks pretty active. Mission will be over in about 24 minutes. It's not looking good for Op 4, though. More 50 cal suppression going on this rooftop. I know there were 2 people up here. I can't tell if one of them died. Oh, okay, no. I think he actually just got sniped by that 50 cal barrage. Because his body was still ragdolling. Yep, Pay for Pain got all sorted out. I had one issue that is just going to refund itself in a T-Rex for this weekend's DayZ event, so... Well, an Op 4 guy just got GL'd and flung from the rooftop again. Yeah, Blue 4 is still suppressing this building right here, Alexander's position. Oh, don't worry about it, Broadshore. And I'm still waiting on Karma Cuts people to give me the new roster for their op this weekend. So much to do. Well, Swola got spotted by the Crow system. He's now getting suppressed, so he's staying low. And the building collapses around him. So it might actually just be the Striker destroying the buildings because it can. They might not have actually seen Swola. So what are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 versus 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So Blue 4 Well, 24. So Blue 4 have an 11-player number advantage on Op 4 at the moment. That's tough. Karma uploaded playing Vietnam on the Liberation server? Very interesting. I mean, that opens the door for some other stuff, but again, we'll just have to see how it goes. Mr. Dave, looks like he just collected 1 or 2 more kills here. Thanks for the 200 bits, National. Didn't I have a DM conversation with you the other day? I did. I did. Sorry, my brain is in so many different places, but... what did we talk about? I think it was game mechanics. But nonetheless, hope it helped you out, Broski. Or that might have been someone else. I have so many conversations with so many people in the daily about stuff. I just try to help out where I can. I feel like the GMG could have definitely helped suppress some of these buildings, but based off of how OPFOR was using some of their stuff, I'm not surprised that they lost those early, and now it's just kind of a mess. But OPFOR had the asset advantage, but not really any proper way to exploit them. When they were exploited, they worked really well, but beyond that, it just kind of blew up in their faces. Look at this. We got Fran and Samuel. They might poke this corner and find these 2 guys. All right, those Blue 4 guys are further back, so they're not going to be watching this flank. Here comes Fran. And there's the headshot. Fran gets knocked out, though, in that trade. And there's the second kill. So if Blue 4 has any medics left, they can get him back up, but 2 free kills, I mean, that's not a bad thing right there. I think starting numbers to me look fairly even, so we'll see how things go. It's the beginning of the end at this point. We're down to 18 minutes remaining. It's just building CQC at this point. I love how PHK has gone onto this roof and is now watching. He just said he's clueless on where they are, though. Striker now coming around. I wonder... Blue 4 should still have AT somewhere. I refuse to believe Blue 4's out of AT. The amount of NLAWs that we saw them start with was very high. I mean, it's right here. It's just they're in poor positions. NLAW gets fired, and that takes out that Vic.
Team 6.
Grenades getting thrown in. That was Ash with the NLAW kill right there. Orcus is, 6-month gift subscription courtesy has entered month 6. So it's Moxie's last month in sub-jail. But Moxie's been in sub-jail for 59 months. Which means he has a chance of freedom before Modedict puts him in there again, but nearly 5 years of sub-jail. I can't tell if that was Ash firing. That might have been a little bit of blue on blue, but either way, that's fine. And then you got Mr. Dave running around down there. OPFOR now fully out of vehicles. It's just an infantry fight. And the final striker is gone.
6 now.
National Guard, thanks for gifting out a sub to Silver Fox. Hope you both keep enjoying the operations. And I do hope you get a nice kick out of this commentary. There was 1-1 for the rear free. Exactly. Just 1. So for every 5 years, you get 1 month off, Moxie. And speaking of gift subs, Grim has decided to gift out 5. If you got a sub from Grim, make sure you thank him or her. Otherwise, hope you all keep enjoying the ops. And I do hope you're getting a nice kick out of this commentary. But I really don't see what OPFOR can do here to win this one. Blue 4 have most of OPFOR out of the zone.
Send in Goat Team 6.
This is pretty much it. Thank you, Grim. I appreciate it.
Send in Goat Team 6 now.
OPFOR down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Blue 4 down to 6, 7.
Send in Goat Team 6 now.
Yeah, Blue 4 still in the double digits, in the low 20s. OPFOR I can count on both hands. So it's over a 2-to-1 advantage right now. And with the clock ticking, about 15 minutes remaining, I don't see how this can go down in OpFor's favor. Hey, Sylvia. Righto, Grim, I appreciate it. YouTube-wise, for the main channel, we'll be releasing a video every few days, just a highlight compilation of sorts, depending on what we're doing. Oh, here we go. Callie's gonna get a nice flank on Wombat. Wombat ricochets around so hard that he flings himself back. And Callie's gonna double tap. Brutal. But again, that's for the main channel. PvP Shenanigans channel gonna be uploading 2 highlights till the 28th, and on the 29th it's gonna release a compilation video, and then every 4 days a video compilation video will go up. That channel's front logged into December, and then VODs are a few days ahead, but that's also because I'm taking a vacation soon, so it'll catch itself up by the end of the month. Righto, Grim. Hope you keep enjoying everything. I have a lot of DayZ stuff I need to process, though, because people are trolls. Ah! You got Cheeseburger trying to suppress, I guess, PHK, since he's in the roofs now. Blue 4 counter-attacking now. They're finding some OpFor garrison forces here. And we have a bit of blue on blue. And then you shoot him again.
No.
You have to kill him. He's not dead. He's not dead. Está muerto, ¿verdad?
I think they're talking about him, and then he just died. I see. If you're unconscious in the middle of your enemy's formation, you too can make them shoot each other.
No problem. I understand you. There was Ukrainian there.
Yeah.
Aye. It's funny that you see the unconscious guy and then you see movement above him and you're like, ah! More bad people. I just love the shenanigans that have been in this building, though. Oh! PHK finally gets him! He drops off the roof! He's still alive! He's crippled! I thought PHK was finally gonna get him. Oh my god. Dave is literally a cat here on 9 Lives. Grenade gets thrown up. And that knocks him. You got Callie that was down here. He gets picked off by Ash.
Most of the big buildings down.
And there's his body. Still ragdolling. Who are winning? Blue 4. Round's gonna be over in, or I guess the match is gonna be over in 12 minutes. But Blue 4 are down to nearly digits I can count in a single hand, and I think Blue 4, or OpFor is down to, what is that, 5 or 6? 5 up, an additional 1 uncon that could still get back up, and then Blue 4 still in the low 20s. Yeah, so the masscas that happened during the Karma Cup Benghazi op was threefold. First, an enemy AI grenade knocked 2 people out. People moved in to assist. Then a friendly grenade knocked 8 people out, causing more people to come and assist. And then OpFor killed 3 Blue 4 players that were off on their own because they got lost, stole their AT, and then fired the AT in. And basically extended the masscas, which caused 8 people to get KIA'd. And a lot of people were salty about it, but at the same time, nothing I could have done would have changed that outcome. Because that was all caused by an AI and then one of their own guys throwing that grenade. But the AI wasn't the one that really caused the masscas. The AI just caused them to stay in that position. Then a friendly grenade caused 8 people to get knocked out. And then that's what kept them pinned there. And then OpFor finally got an opportunity, which, you know, but for that 3-man team not getting lost and dying, then the masscas would have stopped there and they would have only had 2 or 3 KIA. But again, a lot of breakdowns happened there. But we're working on a new set of operations to retrain them and get them used to OpFor. And you'll see that second mission this Saturday. It'll be a platoon attack. But it happens. Every op where you have PvP, you have risks like that. But that op's also going to be 2 lives, so we'll see. Cheeseburger running into this building. Really, it's just This would be the equivalent of a King of the Hill game on a small server or a Wasteland server. I mean, it's just individuals trying to make plays here. OFCRA has no unit cohesion anymore. Blue 4, I think, still have some between some squads, but between platoons, I don't really see it. Or, for the platoon, excuse me, between the squads working together. And then some groups are going to still be at, you know, higher strength levels compared to some that have been utterly from decimated to annihilated, so could be anything. Yeah, single-man heroism, but in CQC Urban Warfare, it's very hard with this level of buildings to get these multi-kills. And I think PHK hears the footsteps, he just doesn't know if it's upstairs or downstairs. Ah. But, okay. So Cheeseburger had a little teleport tech there to not only get the kill, but he teleported to this side room and really got the jump on that Blue 4 player. And now he's worried that there's additional Blue 4 players here because he sees this leg and it scare rouses him, and that's why he's firing at various directions here, because he doesn't know what to do about it. That's my commentary. That's my take. I don't really know what else to say. If you want the true answer there, the truth, it's just desync happened in CQC. Now, the desync doesn't happen on the player's POV, it's just my spectator interface losing the ability to see which position, or which player is in what specific position. We're down to 8 minutes. OFCRA down to 4 players. Blue 4, I think, are now in the high teens. But it's pretty much over. So anyway, after this, I'm gonna now go into a a menu for whatchamacallit, POG, and just start breaking down some weapon prices for their campaign. We got POG in 2 hours to work with, and then I'll be taking the rest of the day off and working on that roster still. HTM, he came back, and then he died in a firefight over here. One of his bodies are... I think this is his body. He got killed by Ilbanek on the window. So he came back. Monkey Enjoyer being in the open, actually getting the knock-on roll in there. Did he... Alright, Cheeseburger did not have to go that hard on Monkey Enjoyer, but damn. Damn. Alright. He literally rappelled down, held his 249 up with one hand, holding the rope with the other, and just treated this like an action movie. That was nuts. National Guard, thanks to the 200 bits again. Dot, I don't think so because of all the scripts behind the head crabs, but who knows? It could be possible. That'd be something I have to experiment with, but that campaign's gonna go in... It's more so gonna be one-offs rather than a dedicated campaign. So I'm not sure if he's going to run up and try to do medical on him, but Blue 4 still have, you know, at least 15 to 18 players at this point. OFCRA is down to 3. And we've got 5.5 minutes remaining. But I think this is going to be it. I don't see any of the remaining OPFOR players trying to make any pushes. We got Ash moving up. He might find and take Cheeseburger out. But beyond that, the two other OPFOR players just kind of moving out and about, and Blue Force kind of content on staying in their position. Oh, I thought that was a really cool cinematic end as well. I just know for the other ops I have planned, I've only got 2 more. But we'll see. That'll be run on Mondays or Tuesdays. Yeah, so Ash is holding instead. I think we can pretty much call this here. Because there's no way in the next 4 minutes that OPFOR is going to be able to get all the knockouts they need to even consider taking this sector. That's fine, National. Hope you enjoy Zeusin. Oh yeah, and then at the end of that bio-op, if they didn't panic run, they would have had more people survive, but they immediately broke cohesion and let fear overtake them, and they got annihilated. It was funny, though. It was cinematic. From a player perspective, it was probably frustrating. Also, the wind is heavy in this damn town. Yeah, Ash is going to pull back instead. This is GG. Yep, so OFCRA does always do a second bonus round. It's only 30 minutes. However, I don't cover it because I got to switch gears and prep for OFCRA. But I think we're going to watch what Alexander does here because he's going to be our final bit of PvP, and then I'm just going to call it after that. So he's got 2.5 minutes to make a move. And he knocks Pingus out as this Blue 4 guy struggles to load his L85 because the mag keeps falling out. Look at that. He might have one in the chamber. Still struggling to get that mag in. All right, he gets it. Oh, no. Alexander's going to end up backblasting himself, but... Okay, he decides that's not a good idea because he doesn't have any real way to do it. And he gets headshotted. Alright, that's GG. Blue 4 have won because they have control of this final area, and that's going to give them, on the board, 8 points compared to OPFOR's 3. So guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. We'll be back in a little under 2 hours for the POG contracting campaign. Otherwise, cheers, and have a good one.